Get going. There we go. Now we're started. So good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, June 11th, and I'm Todd Martin. I'm with Liz Young. Thanks for joining, Liz. This is great. I'm happy we can do this together today. So Liz is located in London, and she is the vice president of our global professional services group. And I'm Todd Martin, and I sit in West Palm Beach, Florida, and I head up our partnership and alliances here at Pipeliner. So excited to be here. So Liz, thank you. All right, we're ready to go. This is our third one now, right?
Oh yeah.
It's like it was funny because Liz and I were talking about what can we do to really help out customers, and some people just don't want to ask, but they want to record it, and sometimes the recordings are just a couple minutes, and so Liz and I were like, let's do a readiness webinar series. So this is the third one, and Liz, I think it's going good. Our viewership is going up and up. So
it is. Yep.
I feel like a YouTuber, like hit subscribe button. But let's go ahead and get started here. Then hopefully everyone can see my screen. And today's version is going to be all about reporting. And we talk about reporting. We're going to talk about reporting to the salesperson, the individual person, as well as for the sales manager. So I think the two of us together, Liz, hopefully we'll kick a lot out and be able to kind of cover, I think, a few different things. This is what we were thinking, everybody. Okay, we thought we'd cover about the opportunity view and really how that the concept of the war room kind of can play out for the individual person as well as for the manager in weekly sales meetings. Okay, that's number one. I think that's going to be fun. Liz, I think you're going to take over and start doing some of our standard reports, pivot reports, and advanced reports. The advanced part you get to do, okay? I think I'll take it back and cover some forecasting reports and even touch on a few of the different graphs about leading and lagging indicators. And then really we got the special bonus for today is going to be about our new BI feeder and how it works with Power BI. So that's really fun there. So am I missing anything, Liz? We got everything covered?
That's it. Absolutely.
All right, perfect. So the first thing we talk about is for the individual salesperson. Okay, yeah, that's a good idea, Liz. I'm going to turn off my camera too. Just to save on some bandwidth so we can all get going here. I'll turn it on later, but for right now. So, and so for the individual salesperson, I think there's a couple things that really, I think helps from a reporting standpoint. And remember, we're going to start here and then we're going to kind of progress to advanced reports. So this is like beginner to advanced, just so we're all on the same page, okay? So the very first part about it, and this would be, we're going to use this as an example, my pipeline for June, end of the quarter, right? We got to get deals in right now, okay? And so I'm showing 10 different opportunities here, okay? But you may ask, and I may ask myself, like, geez, what am I going to bring in? I got my target, I got my quota, and what am I going to bring in? So I thought I'd just touch on really quickly about, where am I and what can be done, okay? At the same time, I'm going to click and check out the Power Panel. Now, the Power Panel, just so everybody knows, is one of the most unique items about Pipeliner. So if you're not really familiar with the Power Panel, do yourself a favor. There's on our help section, there's a whole video just on that, and it will be extremely valuable for you in the whole application. So given that you know how to do that, right, Liz? What comes next, right? And so I think the key part about it is how can we really affect the data that's in the target? How do I adjust it for myself? Right? Because I'm a seller, I want to adjust it, right? And so in the Power Panel, there's a target button here, okay? And once you click that target, what's really nice, because if you're not sure, the target you can separate into multiple different target areas, okay? In other words, my unweighted value, the total of everything, and your weighted. And I think everybody knows what these phrases are because you're in sales, right? We better know. And so the key part about it is you can have different targets for each one. In other words, you may know yourself, wow, I need about, maybe 4 or 5 times pipeline value in order to probably hit my number. Okay. Or maybe you're super good and you just need 1-to-1 ratio. Okay. Or 10-to-1 ratio. Okay. Whatever it is for you, you can actually change it right within Pipeliner here and switching around and then changing that target. Okay. Other things you can change too is like, what does that data apply for? In other words, for this time period, what would my quota be? Okay, so a good example is saying maybe here's the month of June. I really want it on my unweighted, and I go ahead and put in 5.5 million. Let's just say that's a little bit carried away, Liz. Okay, so I'm going to tone it down to about 1.5 million. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Okay, keeping in mind too, you can even compare to different time periods too. Okay, maybe like last quarter. Okay, so if the sales manager calls you and said, "How you doing?" You're like, "Wow, I'm at like in this example, I'm going to be at, let me close this. I'm going to be at my weighted target here. And I can be like, I'm at 59% of what I think I'm going to bring in beta based on the weighted value. Okay. And comparing that to last year, you can then click and see that as well. So a really good way to kind of just dynamically and instantly change that data. And that's obviously the best part about Pipeliner, right? So, I'm not going to touch on multiple pipelines today because I think a lot of people from a sales perspective, they have one primary
Yeah,
process they work on. Don't you think, Liz? Isn't that?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, but I think, other, because I don't know, I'm a very visual guy, right? And so what we enable you to do in Pipeliner, which is so fantastic, is to be able to click on the different visual aids. Okay. In other words, I can turn on velocity, which is the number of days that's been in each stage of the cycle. Okay. My ranking, which is my gut feel about the deal. Okay, which I think is so important. As an example of that, you'll see right here. Well, I'll do this one for Bruin. We see 50%. So that's my personal opinion about the deal. Even though as a company, my company said on average 30% of the deals make it all the way through. Okay, so it's just an unbelievable way to really kind of start showing the visual aspects for you and your own personal goals.
Fitness.
Okay,
I love it.
isn't that great? I mean, that's just so from like and I tell you the truth, this is the way I think most sales people using Pipeliner start off their day. Okay,
Mm.
now let me switch hats real quick. Boom, I got the sales manager hat on, right? And all of a sudden I'm in my war room meeting. Okay, and this is like kind of I don't know, we call it war room. It's the old IBM terminology if you're familiar with that. If not, no problem. But what it is once a week maybe you get together and you talk about the deals you have, right? Where are you going to be this month, right? Where are you going to be this quarter? The fun meetings, right? You got to do every day. But since we're not waiting once a week to just type in data, like because we use Pipeliner, so it's exciting, so you can do it every day. From a sales manager perspective, there's different ways to maybe kind of start bringing in all the data. So instead of just having one particular salesperson's numbers, we can maybe expand it to show everybody's deals. Okay. And I think that is all of a sudden like, wow. Now, I don't know, Liz, if you're, this might be kind of confusing. Right? There's a lot of data here, right? I'm looking at 34 deals for the month of June. So one easy way, okay, as a sales manager, actually start grouping it by the owner, which would
Yeah,
be
I
your
like that.
salesperson, right? Because you can see, here's me, right? Here's John. Okay, here's Nicholas. Okay, there you're Liz. Okay, so I got everybody on here, right? You got a deal too, right? And so now we can do is start saying, wow, what I really want to do is maybe deep dive into each one because you may say, geez, Todd, this shouldn't be over here. No, 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 no. Let's put it back. Okay, okay. Also, other things from a sales manager perspective, if perhaps there's a deal that, well, maybe doesn't look like it's going to really come in other words, maybe you've done through the process and you're doing everything you can, but we're in a horrible time right now, right? It's a lot of issues. So we can maybe click the exclude button, which would then exclude that deal from the total. Okay. And I'm spending a lot of time here just because there's different ways also to filter it. As an example, and I see this a lot the way I'm coaching, right? Is I'll take some people and say, hey, you know what? If it's getting closer to the end of the month, okay, or end of the quarter, maybe you want to start removing deals, even
Hmm.
if a rep has it in there, and maybe what you really want to do is start removing a particular stage or step, I mean, okay? Oop, I should say is not, right? My bad. So all of a sudden now we can look at total numbers here and our values all of a sudden based upon maybe different percentages. And I think once you start doing this, and
Yeah.
maybe we'll just add in another one here just to kind of show some flexibility here. But I think it's just unreal way to just kind of say, hey, now I'm looking at my pipeline for my whole entire team. Okay, based upon, we're kind of getting rid of some of the lower end deals and we're really looking at the meat here. Okay,
The
so
thing I love about this is it's just so real, isn't it?
yeah,
This is
right.
what we all just do all the time,
Exactly. So
but normally you're having to like kill an Excel spreadsheet to get it, and
yeah,
here it is, just
yeah.
straight
I
on
mean,
screen.
if the CFO still wants it, you can always click it, right? Click export. There you go.
Yeah.
Please get them on Pipeliner. Save everyone a hassle. So, but and sometimes, Liz, I got to tell you, when other departments are looking at your data, right? We in sales know what this pipeline means. It's second nature, right? Sure, it's tilted on its side because it's go through a process and everything. But in reality, I think, Liz, sometimes when you'll have someone like a CFO looking at the data, they're maybe used to that spreadsheet type view.
Yeah, true.
You
True.
know, and so I think these 5 different views in pipeline are become valuable, sometimes for the salesperson, but also for other team members, right? And so whether it's a list view, and one little tip on this is, because it's one of my favorite views, okay? Because sometimes
Family.
I can see data differently. Not that I'd ever do this personally, right? But we sometimes create
Uh-huh.
a commission field, okay? And what that commission may be, okay? So by clicking on this tab, I can pull up any of those customizable fields, okay, on that opportunity. Isn't that great? You just check the box, and then all of a sudden that's a new field here. Okay. And so here's this commission one. So sometimes looking at my graph view, it doesn't really show me in a quick, easy view what my commission is, because I don't know, I'm just saying maybe I'd call the ones with more commission versus the lower one. I don't know, just who's out there that would do it, but it's exciting that way. You know, so other ways, you know, during this time of crisis, you know, there are some places where people say, geez, you know, am I overly weighted in certain regions?
Yeah.
And is there some regional issues going on? You know, we have a couple people on our team from Austria, and Austria right now and Vienna is completely open. There's nothing closed. Versus where John is on the call, he's in California, it's locked down, right?
Mhm.
And Liz, I'm in Florida, so it's somewhat open, but I think London's pretty locked down as well. So
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
yeah, so it really lets you kind of say, hey, visually, let me look at it. And once again, this is for, you know, either this 10 deals again, you see them over here, okay? And this is just visually what's going on about with my deals. And what's great is I can just click on that. If I were to click on one of them, it would take me right to that opportunity. Okay. So the map view is incredibly valuable, especially during this time of crisis. For people who are a little more like account managers, okay, and maybe not running that many deals, I think a really nice thing is being able to look at it in our compact view. Okay, I see this. I don't know if Liz, if you see this during training, but a lot of people love this view on accountant contacts.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Everything going on with it. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. So once again, here are the 10 deals. I can pop my leads in if I want, but here are my 10 deals, and I can easily just kind of scroll through and say, okay, what's planned? What happened? You know, oh, by the way, sneak peek here. Okay, this is the new view that the development team just rolled out. So great job, everyone on the dev team. It's another way to visualize that information compared to that card view we had before. So thank you for adding that for us. But you know, and just moving forward, of course, there's the bubble. Oops, the bubble chart view is one of the last ones, and just a great way to invert the pipeline. So instead of looking at like on the kind of the tilted process that we look at it normally in our pipeline view, we can actually look at it. But instead of taking the funnel, like you'd hold a funnel, right, like in the kitchen, we inverted it, so you can really start seeing those deals and the value where they are and where they would play out into the close dates. Okay, so here I can say, geez, you know what, around the 30th, the end of the month, okay, I can really kind of focus on my deals that are here. And if any good sales manager knows, if you are heavily weighted on the end of a quarter, like a June 30 date here, there may be an issue because you're weighting everything a little too close to the corner of not making it in the month, especially being able to focus then on those big deals. Okay. And see how they're color coded, Liz? Isn't that, I
Yeah.
mean, it's so fantastic. And I can expand it and look at them and everything. So just terrific. But so I know I've been spending a lot of time in this view, about 15 minutes, but I think maybe, Liz, it's a way to transition here. And the way I'd like to transition that, going from like the individual or the salesperson, look at using the dynamic functionality just of opportunities, right? And how you can dynamically display the data. But I think there's sometimes a point in time where you want to say, hey, I need to manipulate that data differently and really put it into a pipeline or report. And I think probably the easiest way to do it, and I really like this because I like picking out my fields that I have here, right? And I line it all up, the ones I want in there, because I really want my commission one in there, right? And then I can click on this one that says new report. Okay. And I can either do it as a dashboard or a report, and I'll call this Liz here. Okay, just so I don't forget. And then boom, what it did, it automatically took that data and put it into, and it actually includes some of the ones that were hidden, right, as well, which is great. And it actually put it right into this standard report. And so with that, I'm going to transition, Liz. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to let you share. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'll let you share.
Perfect. Thank you. There we go.
All
I'm in
right.
exactly that place because it's exactly what I do myself. Because, you know, the one of the best things about Pipeliner, yeah, as you know, Todd has just shown, I'll put the commission in on mine as well, Todd, here, is, you know, you use the word report, and what you really want, though, mostly is feedback, yeah, that constant updated to the second feedback loop. And that's what all of those views that Todd has just shown you gives you, you know, absolutely. Then, of course, every now and again, you do need what we would all call a report. So I'm going to do the same. I'm going to turn my list view into a report and call mine all opportunities because it is, and click on save. And this is standard report in Pipeliner, okay? And it looks and behaves like an Excel spreadsheet. So like the list view, but just a little bit more. Yeah, so I can, just like I would be able to do in a spreadsheet, I can click on different column headers to sort. I can move things around. And of course, I can customize it. I can change it. And just like in the power panel in the opportunities area, as Todd showed you, it's the same here. Yeah, double gears icon always opens up the power panel. All the good stuff, all the choices, all the settings, all live in the power panel. So because my report's about opportunities, I've got my target. Yeah, I can put in my goal.
Way more. No, just kidding. Sounds like our
Just keep
CEO.
adding some
Way
zeros,
more.
some zeros in there. And then on my view tab, you know, I can choose to see graphs, yeah, about my opportunities. Maybe I can count the number, I can add in my value, all sorts of different things that I can do here. Okay, so first thing, let's start with some different fields. Some that I didn't have in my list view to show you how easy it is to just add them into any report. So this is my opportunity value. Yeah, and I'm going to drag it up, put it sort of front and center because that's where we want it. And I can also change my sorts directly from here. Yeah, I've got it on account name. Maybe, just maybe, I want it on closing date. You see, same effect as just clicking on the column header. But here's cool, yeah, where you start to think about grouping. So in my grouping, what I want to see, this is the report type view of what Todd showed you. Yeah, so if you remember that from the pipeline, and then he did grouping by owner, and you got to see all the avatars of the owners. This is the, you know, full-on report equivalent here. So now I've got all my opportunities, but now I'm seeing them by person. And you get, you know, this lovely sort of summary, average deal size going on here, numbers, everything that you need. All of those filter options are completely available in here too. Yeah. Now, because I started it from the opportunity view, it's added some filter information in there for me, and I can add to that however I like. So I could, for example, just pick out particular closing dates. Yeah. So let's have a look at that. And the reason I'm choosing this one is because there's some fantastic options when you're filtering by date. Nothing closing today, but let's go down. I just want to show you this dynamic period. So, whole bunch of preset options that you can choose.
Oh,
so
this
if you're
is
thinking
great.
about
This is
a quarter,
great.
isn't
Yeah.
it cool?
Yeah, because you kind of can, it'll just be, it's just there all the time, right? There's no
All
run
the
button
time.
then,
Nope,
right? It's just
no
thumbed.
run.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah, yeah. I hate the run.
absolutely. And it's, you can get funky on it as well, you know. So it's like, well, you know, people can say, oh yeah, well, I don't want that, I want it the next 120 days. I went, okay, that's absolutely fine. Let's look at the next 120 days. Yeah, so when it says it's dynamic, it really is, and you can sort of keep an eye on your deals over whatever close period you're most interested in. Yeah, with all of the other criteria that you want. When you love what you've done, then you just click on save button and away you go. Now, of course, if you've got the rights, because it is a security right that your admins manage in your user roles, then you can either export it to Excel, for example, or export it to a PDF. Slightly different buttons, but they're both an export function. So they're both based on those security rights.
Hey
Great.
Liz, is there a way I can just like create like a really cool report like you're doing right now? And as I put on my salesperson hat, right? Because this is maybe good for like a report. Is there a way I can like just have it done so it's like my report that so my sales manager doesn't have to call me and say, send me your forecast. I could just be in there all the time, so then that person could just click on it. Can I
Yeah, you can
expose
share
it?
it.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely.
And what
Yeah,
if I don't want to share it with everybody? I just want to share it with like my manager. Is that?
that is cool. So everybody obviously is public, custom,
Oh, there you go.
just the user or user that you choose.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay,
Now,
perfect.
the best thing about that, of course, is if you share it with somebody, you still have ownership of it. So they get to see it, they get to view all of your data, but they can't mess with your report. That matters to me. Nobody will mess with my report. Okay, cool. So let's save this one. So now what can we do? Yeah, well, one of the best things in here that just makes it so quick and easy to use is this, like, well, I've spent some time and some effort and some energy thinking about one report. I don't want to have to be spending that time and effort and energy over and over. Well, that's good, because up here, all you do once you've done that is clone it. Right? So this time I'm doing a nice pivot. I'm doing that sort of overview, and then I'm going to get my drill down. So I'm just going to copy my report, and then here in my settings, I want this one to be a pivot table, please.
That's all you have to do to make a pivot table.
All you have to do.
Wow.
So what have we got in here? Well, we've got owner down the left-hand side. Nicholas has got 2 logins here. That's a bit weird, which is perfect. Yeah. So maybe though, again, it all depends on how you've got your company structured. Maybe we want to know a bit about business area in there, you know, from our different teams. So I'm going to add sales unit in, and I'm going to put that first. So now we get to see, you know, deals in Africa for Nicholas and deals in Australia for Nicholas. And then in this sales unit, we've got Nicholas and Jackson. Yeah, so you can do this multi-level pivot, which is really nice. In status, well, maybe we want that. Maybe though, we'd rather see closing date again up there. Yeah, so I'm going to add that in, take my status out. And again, maybe if we're very quarterly focused, we just have it by quarter. So
You're
now
making
we've
it
got,
look too easy, Liz. Come on.
but the thing is, it is this easy, Todd. This is the thing. It really genuinely is this easy. That's why it's so cool, you know,
Yeah.
because unlike, I mean, you know, you and I, we've been at this game a long time, you know, so, you know, you remember reports in something like Goldmine, for example, where, you know, you'd rather pull your fingernails out with a pair of pliers than try and teach somebody how to use it. This is just so not like that. Anybody can do these reports. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
we had a question, Liz, here, because I think we have some of the customers that are watching today are on our hybrid version and other are on our cloud version. So
cool.
what we've been showing today is it available in both
Yeah, it
versions?
is. Yes,
Oh, it
yes,
is.
it
Oh, there you go.
is.
So Dave, the
Yep,
answer to your question, yes, it is. All
yes,
right.
it is. Just obviously working on cloud, but absolutely, yeah, available on both platforms. So obviously we're thinking about sales, yeah, sort of war room type view. So it's all about the money. So rather than the count, how many opportunities we've got by sales unit and owner with our quarterly view, I want the money in here. So I've just changed my option here to sum, and we've got opportunity value. Yeah, so now we know what we've got closing in each area. And again, I'm going to save. Now, the great joy about pivots, again, remember you can share them. It's shared because my original was. This is where you get the click through. Yeah, so we want to see sort of the North America sales unit, for example, and the total, and just click. Now we're going to see all of the opportunities in that particular area that are making up that section of my report. If I want more visibility on that, I can drill straight down to the actual underlying record and see exactly what's going on. And then to get back to my report, away we go. Yeah.
Nice, nice.
Oh, I just
Yeah,
clicked away from that.
I got a question for you, Liz, because I hear sales managers, heads of sales, they have to go like into boardrooms, right? And they have to present the numbers, right? And a lot of times it's instead of printing, you'll have, why not just pull it up live? And because that way they can click and see the numbers that are representing what maybe another board member is asking. But sometimes in a group setting and you're presenting on a screen, they like to see even more visual aspects. Can you kind of dive into some of these kind of the dashboard views, just really show it how it could visually kind of come alive?
Absolutely. So
Okay, cool.
here's some we've got earlier. Yeah. And this time I'm going to click on the create button actually. Oh, here's some. So we've got opportunities in here. Yeah. It's a quick and easy view. How would we get to something like that? Okay. Well, this time I'm going to create a new dashboard. What am I going to build it on? You can see you can build it on all sorts of things, including activities, which is neat. Yeah. So what people have been doing. I'm going to go for opportunities because we're sort of on a theme today. So I'm going to click on save. Okay. So we've got some data in there already, some content, some of our blocks. I want some more. So I'm going to click on my report settings. I'm just going to make sure that I'm seeing everything. Note that I can filter, so I could have this set up by individual members of my team, for example. Yeah, again, I can set and save my target goal. That's important for dashboards. Okay, so what do I want to see? Well, I want to see my direct sales pipeline. Okay, that's crucial. Pick a particular pipeline. These are my click-throughs down here, and I can edit those just by clicking. Yeah, so when I click on an individual chart, this is what I'm going to see, the underlying data. And here's where I get to play with my charts. So I can click and I can say, right, so how are we doing so far, for example? What have we got one already versus that goal? Yeah.
So on that step, I just click in that. Sorry, Liz, can you go back? Because that was,
Yep.
I mean, there's so many. You clicked in
So
there and that gives all the, oh, I see, these are all the options
all
that you
the
can put on the
options.
report to the left. So you just click on it?
Yeah,
And it
just
just
to add it
shoots
in.
on over. Oh, so cool.
Absolutely. And you just get to reorder it. You just drag and drop it up. It's absolutely lovely. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So there's some real great ones like this, for example. If you use a count class, we use it extensively in our system. This is like, numbers of opportunities at different stages for different classifications of company. This account class default field in Pipeliner tells you about value essentially. Top one, like that one. Yeah, so you can just basically add in all of the charts that you want to see. And the best thing to do with this, as is pretty much the case, just try it. Yeah, put these charts in, have a look, see what data works really well for you. If you then decide that it's just not working particularly well, just take it out. Okay.
That's nice.
So
That's nice. That's nice. I actually thought,
super easy.
I thought that a lot would this would just be for managers, but I can really see value for the individual salesperson too if they really want to deep dive on their own, their own book of business. I really
Oh,
see this could be
absolutely.
valuable.
I mean, it's just because again, you get this click through. Yeah, so I mean, here I am, I'm hovering over a particular area. I
Yeah.
get my quick view. Everyone's familiar with that. I click, oh, hello.
Yeah.
And there we go. Yeah. And
Yeah, it
again,
goes well because exactly because sometimes you're just looking at that pipeline view or kind of the list view day in and day out and making the calls and sending the emails. So sometimes you got to take a step back like once a week and just digest your data and really have really it's just kind of that time away to read, just kind of analyze, hey, am I really on the right path here? Not from the numbers if you closed or not. We all know that in the back of our head, right? But really kind of some of the other data points. This is fantastic.
yeah. And so easy to do. Yeah, so easy to do. So just quick reminder for the sales manager, if you're thinking about this, you want it by person. Yeah, to switch on your filtering, pick an owner. And now you're looking at all of the content that you want to see, but just by individual person. It is
Nice.
so cute. Okay, so we've looked at standard reports. Yeah, we've looked at pivot reports. We've looked at dashboards. To be honest, those are the ones that most customers are going to want to use most of the time. Okay, but we do offer more. So I just wanted quickly to show you an advanced report. Now, I'm not going to go through, how-tos, not about how-tos and all of this. So here's one I prepared earlier, okay? But I wanted to show you.
We shouldn't be nervous though, right? I'm not going to get nervous, right?
No, absolutely not. It's a little bit, a little bit more techie than what I've shown you. But when I say a little bit, I really do mean a little bit. We pride ourselves on ease of use, and it's the same in here. Yeah, you just need to sort of understand the concept of it really, and that we're just relating things together. So I've got here an advanced report that I've called opportunities with products. Oh, and it is exactly that, opportunities with products. Okay, so what have I got? I've got an opportunity, and underneath it I've got a sub table. I'll show you how to set that up in a second, that shows me the products included in that opportunity, the categories that those products come from, and the value, yeah, adding up to the total there for my opportunity.
Oh, wow.
So nothing weird and freaky about that. Yeah, very, very useful report. So how did I set it up? This is just for enterprise customers, just so that you know, yeah? So here I went create report. This time I chose an advanced table. If I go to my report settings, you see something just a little bit different here, which is the report builder. And if I click on that, here is where I built my report. Now, no freaking out is necessary here. Over here on the right-hand side, it's all just like the Power Panel. Okay, I've got my view, I get to choose all of my columns, I can tick to make sure I'm seeing everything. I've got my filter options here. Yeah, and of course in this one, I said I only want to see those that have got products because, otherwise they're not particularly relevant for this report. And each of these panels applies to opportunity when I'm clicked on opportunity, and when I click on product, it applies on product. And I can click different here. So this is my little pivot. And if I want to add another one, another subtable like this, here's where I do it from. Yeah, so I chose to add a pivot on product. I could have added a standard table, that's like my Excel spreadsheet, and got a list. So this is that idea of, an opportunity, all the people linked to it, so list of contacts, and all of the activities that have gone into it. Yeah, that's
so
the
you can just add
concept.
if here's an opportunity, right? I know what they're going to be buying then, and I can add in all the people that are part of that opportunity too.
Absolutely.
Just like that. Boom.
Adding in the contact, just like. Yep.
Oh, and I see. So it's a sub table. Okay.
It's a sub table. That's
maybe just their name. Maybe just
yeah.
their name, and maybe like who's responsible, like the owner. Maybe nothing too fancy,
Yeah, nothing too fancy. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to see what this is going to look like, Liz. Because I could see. Oh wow. Oh wow.
Okay.
Oh, and there's the people that are with it. Okay.
Absolutely.
Wow, this is great.
So easy. So easy.
It's like Dawn's got a lot of deals. Okay, perfect. Good job, Dawn. All right.
Limited to test data. Deep joy.
Exactly. The hardest demo ever we're doing is on test demos with data, because obviously everybody on the call here, when you apply to your data and it's real, it just really comes alive. Number one, you'll recognize it, right? And so when you start clicking and adding things, it really changes. So that's really nice there. So.
Okay, so I'm going to hand back over to you for forecast reports.
All right, let's do that real quick here. Boom, boom. And hopefully you'll see my pipeline view. Is that okay, Liz?
Mm-hmm.
All right, great. So it's one of those things like, okay, so remember before I was talking about how we had this weighted target and we had numbers, and it was really kind of individual or group, we could do it. But there's another option. I'm just going to go ahead and click back over to our reports tab. And in here, there's something I've created called a forecast report. Okay, if you wanted to do one from scratch, okay, on your own system, go ahead and say create new, and it's the one that says forecast. Okay, not too complicated, right? And when you do that, when you start the forecast, just so you know, there's a couple options, but really the options are very logical. Okay, because in a forecasting world, number one, you got to say, hey, do I really want to create I'll just call it test here. Do I really want to create one based on users? Or if you're using the sales units, okay, maybe by geography, perhaps, you have your America business, you have your Europe business, maybe that's how you want to do the forecast. That's an option for you, number one. Okay, number two is if you picked users, you can then decide who do you want in the report. Okay, so don't need myself. I just want to have John and Nicholas. Okay, and Liz. Okay, 3 people, right? And then I could do my forecast report based on the time, which is awesome. And then remember, you can select the pipeline. And the key thing about this is in some scenarios, and this is actually a big request because a lot of people, what I see, Liz, and I know you implement it, right? Is you'll have one pipeline process for like new business,
Yep.
another pipeline for maybe cross-selling those current customers, different products, right? Or even upselling, adding more of that, right? Or even reorder. Sometimes we have 3, 4 pipelines going on, but then we need to roll up all that data together. So that's an option, right? And then obviously you can base that forecast field, and this is so incredible. Okay, I love this part because I can base this forecasting field either based on the opportunity value. However, a lot of companies maybe run on something different, like profitability.
Yep.
Okay, so if you have that custom field in there, like a profitable number, maybe even a calculated field, whatever, you can base it on that. So whatever numeric field, here's one on lead scoring or opportunity scoring, right? And this gets really cool that way. But see how easy the setup is? Not that hard. Okay, so if you hit create on yours, and once again, this is fake data, so don't be frustrated here. Okay, this is what it starts to look at. Okay, now I know there's a lot of data on the screen here, so I'm not going to click around too much because I don't want to blur the eye. Okay, so but what I wanted to do, I added in a lot of these different columns. So each of these columns where it says one value, I can add that or remove it. All that's done. Back to our power panel. Love the power panel, right? And so I can see one value here, right? And then here's the corresponding column here. Okay, and then you can really, I added them all in before here so you could see everything, but perhaps like one versus forecast percentage. And maybe you're like, I don't even like that. So you can just boom, take it out, and then boom, dynamically and instantly, it changes all that data behind the scenes. Okay, so when you start adding in the different forecast numbers, as an example, you see here 850, right? So I can also, oh, I don't have editing rights. Okay, good. See, salespeople can't change all their forecasts, but if I did have that, you'd be able to get in there and then change that actual value of each of those forecast numbers. Okay, for that particular or corresponding time period, because you may have one number for the month and a different one for the quarter and different one for the year, obviously, right? So each of these reports, you can set it up like this may be the monthly report. You can also then have the annual report. So in this example, I have a time period for the whole year, okay? Now, it gets, I think, really exciting because a lot of times what we'll need to do in sales person and sales management is take a look at, all right, what do I have in so far and what do I have to get to? And then how am I going to get it? And how likely am I going to get to it? Right, Liz? These are like normal questions that everybody has, right? And so if you've done the setup correctly, which Liz ensures that, thank you, Liz, and you have your pipeline processes set up where you have the right percentages on each stage, which is fairly basic, right? We can then take a look and say, geez, what I really want to see is, okay, here's my open value of maybe how much I have weighted here. Okay, in other words, the weighted amount versus the open value unweighted. Okay, so you may say an example on Nicholas here. Okay, Nicholas forecast is 476,000 for this time period. Okay, he's 182 grand. Okay, his open value total is 380 grand. But if I look at his weighted, he's at 50. Now that means probably a lot of those deals, as we instantly think about it, right, are in the early stages because it's a lower percentage, right? But if I take a look at what his gut feeling is, right, his balance target, okay, the gut combination with the company, it's at 21. So it's even maybe a little bit more on the quote unquote left side of that funnel. Okay. So, and then you can kind of say, geez, well, you know what? Let's look at numbers. If he were to bring in what he's already has in, plus, okay, his unweighted forecast, where would he end up for the month? And believe it or not, he'd end up at 98%. So are we kind of okay with that? I'd say yes, right? And on and on and on with those numbers. So it's just a fantastic way. You can either do it by year, by month, and really doing it. And here's also like, because sometimes you're like, should I get rid of that? Because what I see in real life sales meetings where we're looking at the numbers for a month and quarter, okay? And I have these one-on-one meetings all the time with customers. And Liz, I know you do too. What we see is we kind of say, hey, you know what? We don't take into consideration, or at least for this thing, about unweighted. So what we'll do is we'll go in and we'll remove the unweighted ones from all the different reports, okay? I'm just going to click through it. So see how we just minimize that report instantly, everybody? Isn't that cool? And now we're just maybe saying, you know, what we really pay attention to is our balanced. Okay, so we can really take a look at that. And then I'm just going to save this real quick here. And then also another item is we can actually take this, just like in all the other reports Liz was showing, and I can rearrange it. Okay, so in these sales things, in your board meetings, this is, I think, another item in your tool belt to be able to really look at the numbers and say, where should we be at in the future? And really, hopefully you're getting down to what most good sales managers are doing, you know, when you're in that plus or minus, 2 or 3% on your estimates. Okay. So I think that's really exciting. A lot of times this leads to, well, why? The why question, right? And I think a lot of that comes down to then if you take a look at it, some of these what we call leading and lagging indicators. Okay. And in these leading and lagging indicators, I think we can really have a question where we can really say, hey, let me see these direct insights. So I'm just we'll go back and pick on Nicholas again, right? He's not here. I can really kind of say either on a per person basis, what's going on, and say, geez, this Nicholas guy, he's closing all the deals. What's going on? Why is that happening? Well, he closed the deal, right? Versus I can maybe kind of look at it more of a group, okay, and really start looking at those numbers, either by maybe, the creation of opportunities or leads, or maybe even what we're converting, okay? And sometimes that might be the thing, saying, geez, Todd, he doesn't have anything in yet, right? We saw the 0, right? Okay, so what's going on? Well, he's qualified 8 deals though here. Okay, it just seems like during this time period, you call it 6 in 2019 and then 8 in 2020. I mean, how cool is that to just visualize that information? I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, love it.
I'm gonna click here on life cycle because I think a lot of times this is the second part.
This one.
Yeah, I know, right? Because it's like, okay, now we know where the numbers are. And now we know if we close everything on our pipeline, what can happen, right? And we can analyze if we're converting better. But what if we were to give marketing some more money to get some more leads, right? When can we see the money close from those leads if they're the right type of leads? Okay. And this is something that's fantastic. You can say, just, you know what, you could put money into it right now, but in our current scenario, we're just going to focus on this direct sales one. We may be saying from lead to qualify takes 104 days. It just is what it is, right? Based upon this example. Yours, of course, will be different, right? And then from stage 1 to 2 at 69 days, and then 90 days, and then it's all of a sudden still further to go till it closes. Okay, so I can think, wow, 229 days is what it is right here total, right? And so I think the key thing to remember is even if you were to kind of get started and put that in there, you're still looking at, almost what, 6-9 months before you recognize that revenue from new lead spend. So good news if you're running sales and marketing, or you got your office next to the marketing person, say, hey, I may be seeing a deficit in our forecast coming through. This is the backup of it based on our deals, not an estimate, but a backup of it. And then this is, I need you to act now because based on our history, true numbers, it shows you. So unless you have that number for January coming in now, you better start spending money now, okay? Or we may have an issue. So I think it's great. So, did I miss anything on this part, Liz?
No, it's fantastic. Just on that sort of marketing thing, I guess, is just the ability to filter this. So if you track the source, so if you track where you're spending your marketing by capturing lead source, for example, you can use that in a filter here. So you could actually see, well, when we spend it on click ads, for example,
nice.
It takes us this long. And when we spend it on, I don't know, events, for example,
right,
then it takes us however.
Gotcha.
So
okay, here's our networking
again,
event. I gotcha. Yeah, none of them close. Okay, we got that.
Exactly.
That's a
Let's
great
not
point.
bother with
Really,
those anymore.
really
Yeah.
filter the data. So then marketing, so of course you got to get marketing people into Pipeliner now, because then they'll be able to start saying, hey, of the money I'm spending, where are we closing deals? And really completing that whole 360-degree view of the life
Yeah.
cycle. So fantastic. Okay, Liz, we're at quarter till. Okay. And I want to make
2
sure, I'm going to
minutes.
stop sharing.
Go on.
Okay. I
Give
want
me
to make
2 minutes.
sure.
Give me 2 minutes.
Okay. But one of the new items with Pipeliner we added in, was it 10 days ago now? It seems like whatever, 10
Yeah.
days ago. And this is only part of our cloud version. Okay, so you know. But it's called our new BI feeder. BI feeder. So that stands for Business Intelligent Feeder. In feeder, it's a funny name, right? But but the marketing comes up with names you never forget, right? Automatizer, BI feeder.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know,
BI feeder. Yeah.
right, not B feeder, BI feeder. Okay. And the cool part about this is well, I'll tell you what, I'll let you explain. Go ahead. You got it up and loaded.
Okay. So this is sort of, so we did so gone through, yeah, sort of reports that everybody's going to use every day, the views, yeah, and then those reports, standard, pivot, etc. Looking at advanced reports for a little bit more, right? This is taking it to the nth degree, okay? So this is not necessarily targeted at everybody. This is targeted at those people probably that use multiple different systems within their organization, and you need to be aggregating your data into what you might, seen called data lakes, for example, that sort of thing, or data warehouses, okay? And then you use a business intelligence tool to look at all of that data lake or that data warehouse to get information into reports from lots of different areas. And that's what we've enabled you to do using Pipeliner data with our BI feeder. So essentially what it does is it exports data from Pipeliner into a format that can be accessed by these business intelligence tools. So you might have heard of Microsoft Power BI. You might have heard of Google Data Studio. You might have heard of something like Tableau, for example. Those are all these business intelligence tools that can look at this aggregated data. Now, as I hope you would expect from us, we've done this in a really, really smart way. So we create a separate database for you to access. Why is that important? That's because we're not going to trash performance on your live system while people are doing these reportings. It's like a separated space. And you need to have it activated in the automation hub, and you set up various different options about the data that you want to get out. Yeah, so works in exactly the same way as you'd expect everything in Pipeliner to work. You've got complete control over the choices. I'm taking a lot of data out here. I can export it at will, otherwise it runs on a 24-hour schedule. Okay, so once I've got all my choices here, so, as Todd mentioned, this is an add-on. Yeah, it's not part of the core product. But once I've got it here and I've got it set up, I've configured exactly which tables I want, which fields I want from those tables, then I can export it. Then my next step is to get access to it from one of these tools. Yeah, and I've got Power BI right here.
So
Okay?
Liz, can I get a quick question for you, Liz? If we have, because the topic was like sales and sales management, right? So how would a sales manager or head of sales, how would they just go ask maybe someone at their company, do they use Power BI? Is that the easiest way? Like the person who
That
maybe,
is the easiest way.
okay, good. I just wanna make
Yeah, this isn't aimed at everybody being able to do this. Yeah,
okay,
if you've
okay.
got a use for something like the BI feeder, then you've probably already got somebody who's responsible for this sort of report
Okay,
within your
great.
organization. Yeah, and again, here's one I prepared earlier. Yeah, because the idea of this and what lots of people use this sort of information for is to put up like really great dashboards. It's even on screens in the sales office, for example. Instantly looking at how did we do yesterday in terms of deals. And so this is an example, the sort of dashboard type report that you can create using Power BI. Yeah,
Ooh, wow.
and this is the same thing, but this shows you accessing all of the different tables from Pipeliner, sort of, all the different things that you can do here. So this is much more sort of working with the raw data but we've got customers who really needed to be able to do this because they wanted to tie in pipeliner data with their warehouse software, for example, you know, or their ERP system. And that's exactly what this is targeted at.
Mm. Wow. Wow. Now, do you, how would someone get help with Power BI? Is that like something we help out with, or is that something that maybe maybe the person there, maybe a partner that does Microsoft would assist them with that?
Yeah, that you would generally go. So if if you're just learning about it, then you'd go to a specialist in Power BI. And we've
Okay.
got some contacts that could help our customers, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We'd be happy to
Yeah,
refer you. And I think even Microsoft on their site, they have a list of all of them too that are like certified in Power BI. So
yeah,
just,
absolutely.
but oh, what is this, the help documents now?
Yeah, it
Oh,
is.
nice, Liz.
So,
You're so good at that. I mean, Liz, everyone, Liz did such a great job at report with this. It's thank you. Thank you.
no, you're welcome. But as you know, so we try very hard to make it, the content available. So this literally is the step by step. So if you're not sure whether this would be something for you, you may want to start here. Okay, so this is how the Power BI works, and then these are two very common examples. This sort of stuff with our Google integrations and our Microsoft integrations. So here is literally the step by step, exactly how you would go through connecting up that exported database to Power BI, everything that you need to get to here, essentially. Yeah, or here at least. And then you'd sort of add your charts in and so on. This is like next generation reporting, but now you can do that sort of reporting using your pipeliner data as well as data from everywhere else in your organization. Okay.
That's nice. That's nice. Thank you. I may show one other thing, Liz, if you don't mind me sharing the screen real quick.
Now go for it.
Because this is fantastic. I know it's not for everybody, but I think I think if your company's using Power BI from Microsoft, or if you're a Google house, okay, Google has a product as well called what's it called? Is it Google Data Studio?
Data
Is that
Studio. Yeah.
okay? Perfect. And so and that's fantastic as well. So we got you covered whether you're more of the Google house or the Microsoft house. Okay, or both for that matter. So we got you covered. So, but I would be remiss if I didn't just log into our mobile version real quick, okay? Because the amount and type of reports that are available on your mobile phone, it is special, very special, okay?
Point.
Yeah, and when you really kind of start going through this and looking at data and analyzing it, I mean, look, I'm just clicking here and it's automatically like showing me, either whether it's activity-based information, health scores of my deals, my opportunities. I find myself, you always got your phone on you, right? Being able to say, geez, you know what? Just show me what it is. So on your mobile phone of Pipeliner, it's the one button that says dashboard, okay, and all that's available there. There's other things to do too, but I mean, it is so nice to be able to kind of on a mobile device click through and show it. So I think we're coming right up to our time, Liz. I think the good news is we're able to show it with the good data. I think we covered it from the from the salesperson in the war room to the boardroom, right, and everything in
Absolutely.
between. So,
And everything in between.
exactly. So stay tuned for another one, or maybe we'll get another one going in a couple 2-3 weeks, and we'll be able to delight you like we're trying to do here. And thanks again. Thanks for being a Pipeliner customer. We do appreciate your business, and and please send in your request. Liz, how would someone send in a request if they want to get more training? What would be the best way for someone to do that?
Any email that you know of, mine, for example, customer-success@pipelinersales.com is a very useful one
Okay.
to use. If you know your account manager, obviously, so I mean, if Todd looks after you, then you're always going to know his address, but customer-success@pipelinersales.com is a really good one, simple one to remember, and then we will feed you through to the right person.
Perfect. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Good luck today. Okay.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.